Anyone have a question?
I have a question, Stuart, Chris. Stuart, do you think that the COVID, this influenza viral thing has been purposeful for us going inside and helping us?
Do I have to answer that? What do you think?
Yeah, it's been really powerful for me.
Look, this COVID thing, whatever it is, it enabled us to find a way of connecting through Zoom.
Mhm.
And these classes have been especially powerful. And I think people have really changed. They've grown a lot. At least that's some of the feedback I get from people. I mean, it's not for everybody. There must be 30 people I've taken off my mailing list because they never showed up in meditation. But for those who do come and do this and make a commitment to this, the changes I think have been remarkable in people. People are clearer, their eyes are brighter, they're comprehending what it is to go really deep inside, to open deeply inside. And more than anything else, people come back.
Mhm.
They come back, they're doing it. And I think I'm very grateful for that. So I don't know what COVID is. I mean, COVID is some freak of nature that I think nature is trying to tell us to stop our bullshit.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, you know, when a door closes, I mean, other doors always open. And that's in the spiritual plane, in the material plane, in the emotional plane. Uh, we always think when things close, it's the end of the world. It's never the end of the world. In fact, it usually is the beginning of some amazing new adventure. So that's how I see COVID. I mean, what did I know about Zoom? And I'm probably the world's, dumbest person when it comes to technology. But this thing happened. I see people here that I've never met in person who are coming to these classes. I see people from Brazil, people from all over the United States. In the other class, people from all over Europe and Israel. And I can say it's a miracle. So, and I'm a firm believer that there's no real negative energy in the world.
Mhm.
It's what you do with it when something like COVID comes along, something like AIDS comes along, what you do with it, how you use it to go deeper into yourself. What doors can you open, that really do one thing? They really open a pathway to God. And if a spiritual life is real in a person, if the need is real, uh, the door never closes without another one opening, never. But the spiritual life has to be real in a person. The need has to be profound. That need, the universe hears and it provides answers. It really provides answers. It's always done it for me all my life. Even before I met Rudy, I mean, I had a very deep need for a spiritual life and it provided answers. It provided answers. And today, it still provides answers. So it all gets back to a simple reality. How deep is a person's need to get to God? That's really what it amounts to. And if the need is that deep, man, the door never shuts for very long. It always opens in a new place, with a new way of doing, but a way of getting you closer to your spiritual enlightenment. So I don't know. This COVID thing I was kidding around before. It could be the greatest scam the world has ever known. I don't know. I don't really care. I have no opinions about this stuff. All I know is, Stuart, what could I find to continue doing my spiritual practice, to connect with people? I was connecting, and that's what opened up. And the rest of it is just bullshit to me. What am I going to do? You know, it's completely out of my hands. I have no control over it. You know, and I think I defer to people that hopefully know what they're talking about, and go on with my life and do my life, which doesn't mean I go around without a mask or go, you know, getting in airplanes and traveling. I don't. I've been living like a monk for the last year. But it's not like a monk. I sit in classes with people all over the world. It's a kind of strange monkish existence. So I don't, you could use anything for an excuse. I stubbed my toe, I have a cold, I have a this, I have a date, an appointment, I have, look, I mean, frankly, I'm the only one who comes to all the classes here. I mean, you all have more freedom than I have. You want a day off? You got something to eat? All right, Stuart will be teaching in 2 days. It's fine. I'll take today. I mean, I have to be in every class, which is interesting, huh? But then also I'm growing enormously in myself by having made that kind of commitment. So, I don't believe in excuses. I really don't. And I don't listen to them anymore. I've heard every one of them. And, if you're ill, take care of yourself, for God's sake. Take care of yourself. Eat better food. You know, go on diets, do whatever you have to do to take care of yourself. Eat healthier food, exercise, and then you get sick less. You get sick, we all get sick. Look, I got very sick last year. And I had to, I mean, it was very, very dangerous thing that happened. But, within a month, I was back doing this. I mean, that to me was extraordinary to go through what I went through and then to be sitting here doing this with people all over the world. That's also an incredible sign of how extraordinary this meditation is. And then, look, what does this take up? It takes up 4 hours a week. There are 165 hours in every week. And 4 hours, 4.5 hours, maybe 5 hours. I mean, so I'm not a big listener to excuses. I mean, I got a text yesterday, oh my God, I have all this emotional stuff in me and what's happening. And I just said, look, just be grateful. All that emotional stuff has been buried in you most of your life. You've repressed it. You buried it inside you. Now it's coming up. So instead of freaking out, just use it, get stronger so you can clean your system of that stuff. People think that there's not supposed to be any pain in life. There is. I don't care what, how we try to avoid it. There's always something that happens. And when you do this meditation, we hit pockets of repressed emotional trauma, of oppressed physical trauma, repressed physical trauma. These things come up. And instead of freaking out and going, why me? Then you can take them and bring them into the chakra system and turn them into chi. You can develop that kind of power inside yourself. It's amazing that one can do this. So instead of, oh, why me? And why am I going through this? And hey, I can deal with this. I can take this and turn it into chi. I can use my mind, my breath, my will, my need to grow to transform these pockets of repressed energy into positive harmony, balance, positive energy. So we don't live with excuses. We are developing the capacity to do these things. And I think that to me is one of the great blessings of this meditation, that we practice that Rudy gave us, because it really enables us to do stuff like this.
Mm.
And it's not being a Superman, it's just mastering the craft. I mean it. You master the craft of inner work. You can turn anything around that happens to you. So COVID, schmovid, whatever, yes, a lot of people got killed, but that's pretty tragic. But at the same time, whoever dreamed of doing what we're doing here on Zoom? I never in my life ever dreamed of this. I never even heard of Zoom. And one day somebody mentioned it to me. I said, what? Well, let me find. And all of a sudden, this thing is like a miracle taking place all over the world. And I still wear a mask. I keep my social distancing. I don't go to restaurants. I haven't been on an airplane in a year and a half, and that in itself was like a miracle. I mean, I can't believe. I mean, I got notified. United Airlines sent me my mileage thing today. No miles. A year and a half. It's extraordinary. That in itself is really a blessing. I haven't been on an airplane in a year and a half. Does anyone else have a question I would like to ask?
I have a question, Stuart. You mentioned earlier when you were younger, you were really intense and that you found a different sort of intensity. Could you describe that transition a little bit?
Well, the intensity now is in the chakra system. The intensity when I was younger was an angry young man who was rebelling against everything in life, who wanted a spiritual life, but at the same time, absolutely detested all the bullshit I used to see around me all the time. Who never wanted to give a shit about money, about success, about anything except finding a path to God. And before I met Rudy, I wasn't finding that path, and I was very angry. And then it took many years with Rudy to learn how to transform that anger to an open heart, into love, which is much more dynamic and much more intense than spitting venom at other people. Much more intense. Learning what I just spent 15 minutes talking about, how to transform that anger into an open heart, into gratitude. That kind of intensity is priceless. It's priceless. But we can't do it until we master our inner selves. So it was going from a very angry young guy, a very artsy, kind of angry, I believe, art and writing and music, but actually the whole creative source of everything I did. But at the same time, I had no control over my emotions, my sexuality, my mind, these things were very painful. And I couldn't, there was like this endless nightmare's voice that was running crazy inside me. And I needed to learn how to do what Rudy taught me how to do, and which I'm trying to teach you all how to do. I was a pretty intense young man. I mean, I did stuff that I think back, it's amazing. I got on an airplane, flew to Europe with a one-way ticket, got off the plane in Paris with $50 in my pocket. I mean, really, who does stuff like that? I think about Stuart. You managed to stay 10 months there, And I got off the plane with $50 in my pocket. And I had this kind of really nice girlfriend, Austrian girlfriend. We went traveling all over Europe. I had this kind of gypsy, crazy quality in me. And then when I met Rudy, I said, Stuart, all of that stuff has got to be transformed into love, into becoming a servant of God instead of a servant of your craziness.
Hmm.
That's somebody's dog barking. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, and I get that it's a practice, but could you speak to any of the nuances of in that shift of going from the mental chatter or the mind intensity or the thoughts or even emotionality into the one point into the core area?
No, Wendy, that's the work. That's the work. There's no secret to this. There's no underlying, spiritual mystery to uncover. You get from emotional, mental, sexual, entanglements that go on inside you, all that noise, to being one pointed and focused inside by doing the work on yourself that gets you there. It's a very practical thing. So it's not like there's some mystery about this that you can do. The mystery is, to me, why people don't do the work. Everybody thinks, well, it's going to change. It's going to change. I'm going to get, and it does change, but doesn't change the kind of in the dramatic way that I'm talking about, where you suddenly have become a master of your inner self, and you can master anger, you can master emotional insecurity, you can master all your guilt and fear and stuff that goes on and transform it. And then all of that stuff begins to listen to you because you have become the master of yourself. But there's no underlying ingredient, some underlying secret is doing the work. That really is the secret. And there are going to be blocks, there's going to be a lot of resistance, there's going to be, and then it's doing the work, getting past yourself. And it's not an easy job. We're the hardest job there is on the earth, dealing with ourselves. But that really is the key to all of this. That's the key. It's how I managed to accomplish this to a certain degree. I mean, I still have stuff, but I managed to accomplish this. It was through work, and I watched Rudy work on himself. I was with him so much, and it was staggering the amount of work he used to do on himself. That's why I don't mind coming here and teaching 7 classes like this a week. I need to do the work, and I understand that. So I'm willing to take that on. That's why I ran ashrams and meditation centers, and businesses and all the stuff I used to do. It's like staggering to me, And it was the work that forced me to keep going deeper and deeper in myself, to answer the exact question that you asked, to find that path, a way to get focused. I wish I could give you a different answer. And I know this answer might scare the hell out of you. I mean, you can't just turn the light on and suddenly you have this one. It's the work. And Rudy always told me work brings more work. He used to say this all the time. Work brings more work. And it really does. It really does. But then there's working on a stupid level or working to serve God. And that is miraculous work that we can do in this lifetime. And if, money comes and all the things come, everything you need comes. I mean, I had the greatest thing, I mentioned, but I'll tell you, I had the greatest thing happen to me last week. I turned down the opportunity to make between $50,000 and $100,000. that somebody offered to me were a very inexpensive investment with something that I know very well and I know exactly what it was about. And I turned it down, and I turned it down because there were certain kind of risks in it that I didn't want in my life anymore. And I said to myself, Stuart, this is the most wonderful thing that's happened to you this month. You were able to say no to something like this. And it was a lot of money. I'm talking a lot of money. It wasn't drugs or anything, but it was in the art business, and it was a lot of money. And the piece of sculpture was extraordinary. I mean, I looked at it like it was just beautiful, beautiful, extraordinary, real. Everything was right about it. And I had to tell this person no. And when I told him no, and I told him the reasons why I said no, my heart opened. I said, Stuart, you were never able to do this before. And this is what I'm talking about. And then I'm talking the next day, things opened, and because I know when COVID's over, I'm going to have to do some art business but things opened for me that were unbelievable, So a door closes and another one opens. It's always the way it works. So what I'm saying is we need to live in the moment. We need to understand consciously how to say no to things, how to say yes to things, and how to live our lives consciously. And that thing, 15 years ago, I was right in the middle of it, no problem, And I think this friend of mine who offered me that he got pissed, he didn't get back to me. I sent him a text telling him, never got back. I think he got very annoyed because he knew that I was capable of doing this with him. And I told him, no, can't do this. I said, I have too much responsibility, too many people that I love around the world. And I said, I can't do this kind of thing. And to me, it was a great blessing. It was a really great blessing. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, I have a question. I know you teach us to focus within and go within, but my question for you is, in this time, do you perceive the collective energy healing, the vibration of the planet rising? Can you speak of that? Do you perceive that? Or is it just within?
Look, I see the vibration, the life, the joy, the openness in people sitting in front of me, evolving and growing. Do I see the collective consciousness of this earth planet growing? Look what goes on here. Look what goes on here. But meanwhile, every person that comes and does it, look how people grow and change. And that's the best I can do. I'm not going to change the world. I'm not. I made that commitment, decision many, many years ago. I once had a conversation with God and I said, this is your problem. You created this place. You're going to have to fix this place. I can't fix this. And the universe gives us reincarnation. It gives us thousands of lifetimes to get our acts together. But when I see how much I've grown and I look out and see the people in my life and how much they've grown, in the Jewish religion, they say if you save one life in your lifetime, the gates of heaven open up to you. And that life that you have to save has to begin with your own. And then you can touch other people. But look, if the Buddha couldn't do it, and Christ couldn't do it, and Muhammad couldn't do it, and Padmasambhava couldn't do it, and all these great saints and teachers throughout the ages, Stuart Perrin is going to do it. I don't think so. But when I see you and how much you've grown since the day I met you, that matters to me. You understand? That really matters because that's something real, not projecting I'm going to fix the world. But I see individuals who have grown and changed and their lives are different. They're understanding life a little bit more subtly and deeper. That to me is extraordinary.
Thank you, Stuart.
And look, you do this kind of work inside yourself and you touch other people. Not the whole world. But then again, I told you the conversation I had with God. This is you created this place. You send me here to fix it. I'm sorry. I've been much greater teachers than me that have been here who haven't been able to do it. But I can do what I do. And that is each and every one of you is, I look at you and I say, my God, it's a blessing. It's a blessing to see people that have grown so much because of this work we do just here on Zoom. And then maybe you'll grow up and touch other people, and they'll grow up and touch other people. And, this whole thing maybe gets paid forward somehow, Rudy, trained me and look what I'm doing today, So I'm trying to train you all. Hopefully you can do something like this in your own way, whatever it is. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Hi, Stuart.
Yes.
Could you talk about, I know you talk about talking to God, but there's no duality, is there?
Well, there is when you think about things, but if you stop thinking about things and get focused inside, there's a dialectic, everything merges, opposites come together. But as soon as you start thinking about the world, duality comes. That's how duality manifests. When we try to analyze, rationalize the world, it always is right, wrong, good, bad, positive, negative. That's why people and politicians and they never get it right because there's always my point of view, what I think is right, wrong, good, bad, and there's always craziness. But once you get past that rational approach to life and you get focused inside and chakra systems, duality disappears. Everything has a singular purpose to help you get your spiritual enlightenment. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, again, God bless you all. Thank you. I mean, whatever this Zoom stuff is, it's been in my life pretty much of a miracle. And I am very grateful for it and very grateful to be able to sit here with all of you and allow these classes to take place. So there'll be class on Sunday and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Stay safe, wear a mask, get your vaccine. I mean, let's all get through this without any nonsense, okay? Bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stuart.
Thanks, Stuart.
Very much, Stuart.